welcome to First and Filoni, the second to last episode of the year. This episode will be pretty good. We got some more bowl games to cover, some transfer portal news, big news, and then we'll talk a little bit about the college football playoff at the end, since the games are this weekend. But first and foremost, I know you missed a weekend here. Have you enjoyed the bowl games that you've been watching? I know you were sick last week.
Yeah, I watched you. I thought the Wake Forest game was pretty good.
The
And
which
the
one?
Air Force, the Wake Forest game.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought the Air Force game and the Houston game was pretty good.
Yeah, no. Well, we're waiting for him to connect again. There has been some pretty good games here as of late. Um, some big games as well. Trying to pull up some of the scores here from last week. We recorded this on Tuesday, so right now we're waiting on the Eastern Carolina and Coastal game. I know the first game today, the Georgia Southern versus Buffalo game, was a really good one. Memphis routed Utah State, which I think we all picked that. But yeah, there's been some good games, man. The Troy UTSA game, I know you missed last week, was really good. I agree with you. The Air Force Baylor game, Air Force is just, they put the hurting on them. And then you said Wake Forest. Wake Forest actually, that's where we can start the transition into some of the news here. We have Sam Hartman here, transferring out. So we have Sam Hartman transferring out, and one of the locations that he's rumored to be transferred, because he's entered the transfer portal, is Notre Dame. What are your thoughts on that? Is Sam Hartman, do you think that would be a good fit for Notre Dame?
Uh, yes and no. I mean, I'm still, you know how I feel about this transfer portal stuff, man. I mean, I think it's a load of crap to go out and get a guy like him for one season when
Yeah,
you could afford to have not necessarily a down year, but try to get a true freshman going into your system and getting them some playing time. I
yeah,
think the NCAA needs to come out with some rules, to
yeah.
where
They're going.
the only way you can transfer is if you have like 2 years of eligibility remaining.
Yeah,
Something.
or graduate school available. I agree. I think with the NIL deal, they're gonna come into some of that as well, and I mean they have to, right? Like, because it's just it's gonna get crazy here, with big money programs, and you'll see some of the richer alumni start to get into it as well. Um, I like the move personally, but I agree as well. We don't have the days where we're gonna see a 3-year starter anymore, unless they're a top pick or a top freshman coming in, um, which they might have one and have them sit for a year and then come out.
Well,
And
see,
who
this
knows what's
this
yeah,
also this also leads me to the thing with Arch Manning. If he doesn't get his shot
right.
this year, is he going to leave Texas to go to Alabama,
Yeah,
or you know what I mean?
that's a great point. I was going to ask you that as well, later on in the show. But yeah, if Quinn Ewers decides he lights it up, I mean, we all know it's a different team when he's playing. But if he lights it up this year and he stays at Texas again for another year, does Arch leave, or does he stay, or does Arch win this battle? Like, we don't really know at this point. So what are your thoughts on that? What do you think there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know, man. Like I said, I just think it's got to be. I'm just a firm believer that if you dedicate yourself to a school, stay with the school.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know what I mean? Especially if you're highly recruited. Coming out of high school and you go to the school for 2, 3 years, then you have 1 year of eligibility remaining. I think it's just all fizzling out to guys trying to get a higher draft stock, which is, I mean, I don't blame them, but I mean, it's kind of a slap in the face, I think, to a university and a program that, you know, looked out for you, for high school, gave you your offers, and I don't know.
Right.
I don't agree with it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Some other transfer news. Hudson Card is going to Purdue, which I think is a great fit for Purdue. DJ Uyunglele is going to
Oregon
Oregon
State.
State, which Oregon State has a good defense. If DJ can play up to his caliber, watch out for the Beavers next year. That would be a really good team to keep an eye on. Kendon Slovis is going to BYU. Um, and then where's the other big ones? Oh, the top two receivers. Top receiver from Missouri, the highly recruited freshman Dominic Lovett, and Ra Thomas from Mississippi State. The top receivers on those teams. Guess where they're going? Good old Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. So Georgia is restacking and reloading. It looks like Colorado's putting some pretty good players together. I mean, I
Yep.
feel like half of Clemson has gone to Colorado. I've seen a lot of their defensive players go, which Dion might do it in the first year. He might make the playoff, my friend. The way he's pulling
I
in
don't know.
recruits.
I don't think he's gonna make a playoff. He'll definitely make either a New Year's Six bowl or a
Wait,
close
the over
bowl.
under has to be set on what, 7.5 wins next year? Already?
Yeah, yeah.
Already?
I don't know.
I don't, they got, I mean,
Good for
just,
good for Dion though.
yeah. Good for Dion. Good for Kirby Smart. I don't I don't hate Georgia yet. They're not at the Alabama level. I still enjoy watching Kirby Smart. I'm always been a big fan of his, but they're getting close if they keep pulling this out here. Um, who else do we got here? Any other transfer portal news that you have seen that you have been surprised about or that you like the fit or anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, I know they had like the what was it signing day the other day.
Yeah, of all the freshmen, which I thought was really
Yeah,
December's so loaded, man.
yeah. To be honest with you, I didn't really keep up with a lot last week, but
Yeah,
no, I was pretty shocked to see. Well, I wasn't shocked. I would have figured DJ would have went to UCLA, but
I thought he was going to
he's getting
Hawaii.
closer. Yeah, he's getting closer to home though. You can't blame him.
No, and I think Oregon State's a good fit if he can get his stuff together. They already got the weapons in place. They got a strong defense. You know.
Yeah.
But all right. So we got some updates here for the Bowl Mania. It looks like we have one person in first place has taken the lead so far. Remind you guys it's on Tuesday. Special guest Libby is actually in first place with Kyle in second, Elise and Andrew in third, and I'm in fourth. Um, Libby's at in the top 91 percentile of all ESPN with 13-7. Look at her go.
Imagine
Imagine
that.
that, right? She's kicking all of our butts. We all knew that she was probably going to win it. But all right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get into these games. It's still the holidays and don't want to keep you too long, and then we'll talk a little bit about college football playoff. So let's start on. Let me move down here. Thursday. We have the first game and only game on Thursday. It looks like we have Minnesota versus Syracuse for the oh no, just kidding. There's a lot of games on Thursdays. For the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, we have Syracuse and Minnesota. Syracuse 7-5, Minnesota 8-4. Minnesota's favored by 10 points. You rowing the boat or you going Big Orange?
I'm rowing the boat with PJ Fleck. Syracuse lost their offensive coordinator, and I think down the stretch they
They got
shown that
exposed.
they couldn't handle the prime time. Yeah, they
Well,
got
they only
exposed. So
they only got
I'm
three
taking
offensive
Minnesota.
options. They only got three offensive options: the quarterback
Yes.
run, the running back who's pretty good, and then that tight end. And if you can stop those three, you're going to stop their offense. I'm with you as well. I think Minnesota covers as well. I think they beat them by more than 10. Um, quick side note: what are your thoughts on the players playing inside of baseball stadiums? This one is the Pinstripe Bowl. I pretty sure
It's
this
the New
is
York
in
Yankees, right?
New York Yankees. I think
Yeah, it's got to
either
be
Yankees
pinstripes.
or
It ain't the
Boston. No,
Mets.
no, it's not Fenway. So it's not Fenway.
It's
What
not
are your
City
thoughts on
Field. It's
playing
got
it?
to be.
Yeah, it's at Yankee Stadium. What are your thoughts on the
Yeah.
baseball stadiums? It's kind of cool.
No, I like it. It's kind of cool. Something different. Kids that are big baseball fans. Get to live out a dream. Not only do you get to go to a stadium and watch a game, you actually get to play.
Right.
Especially in Yankee Stadium. I mean, I'm not a Yankees fan, but I mean it's one of them historic stadiums with a lot of history
Right.
in
No,
that
I'm with you.
organization. So I mean, I think it's good. I think it's good for college football.
I agree with you as well. Some of them I think is a little weird. They remember that one year where they messed up on the field where every time they crossed the 50, they had to switch and go the other way. It was like playing half court basketball.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Like you said, it's something different. So something interesting. Okay, so next we have the Cheez It Bowl. Florida State versus Oklahoma. Florida State's favored by 9.5. I I
I'm
don't
taking
think
Florida
Oklahoma
State.
has a shot. Yeah, I don't. I'm with you.
Nah,
I don't think
I'm
Oklahoma's a
going.
shot. I think this is a
I'm going. I'm going with the nasty nose.
yeah. I think they're gonna crush them. I don't. That's an injury. That's a weird matchup. I think, but whatever. We'll move past it because Oklahoma was very disappointing this year. Okay, and then we have Texas and Washington. This is our first top 20 matchup of the bowl season. We have at the Valero Alamo Bowl. Texas is favored by 3 points. Um, who do you have on this one? Is Texas going to be able to keep up with Penix and that high-powered Washington offense? Is Texas defense? Does the defense travel? I don't know if Bijan's playing, but if he's playing, that's a game changer. Who you got on this one?
This one was a tough one for me. I picked Texas only because of Quinn Ewers.
So I did the opposite. I picked Washington because of Michael
Oh,
Penix,
really?
and I love you know how much I love Quinn Ewers. I love Quinn Ewers, but Michael Penix put up some numbers this year.
I think. I think if Sark loses this game, there's going to be a lot of questions next year.
I think so as well because if you look at their schedule, looking back on Texas, their wins aren't really that strong. They got all the hype because they played Alabama well, but Alabama's wins are not good. Alabama's best win was an 8-4 Ole Miss. So, um, I agree. I don't know if I thought Sark was the answer. Texas had a lot of hype. Texas was back. I even said it, but maybe not. No, I'm with you. But I did pick Washington. That one should be a really fun game to watch on
Oh yeah,
Thursday
yeah.
or yeah on Thursday night. Unfortunately, I'll be asleep because I'll be driving at 1 in the morning, but I'll be missing that one. Maybe I can catch the end of it when I wake up. We have uh, next game. It'll be Friday, December 30th, and this is a very, very good slate. We have Notre Dame at South Carolina to start us, or not to start us off, but actually we'll go Maryland, NC State first because that's the one that'll start us off. Maryland, NC State, the Duke Mayo Bowl, probably one of my favorite bowl games just because of like the history of it over the last 2 years. NC State is favored by 1 point here. Um, do we know? Do we know which quarterback's playing for NC State? Um,
MJ Morris is healthy. I don't know if he's going to get the nod over Finley, but I would say so. The only thing concerning with me is
Tua.
the linebackers for NC State, as far as Drink Thomas, he
Hmm.
declared for the draft. Peyton Wilson's I don't know if they're playing or they're going to opt out. I hope they don't opt out, but I think from
Yeah.
last I heard, I think two of the three are playing. So
Well, yeah. I mean, in NC
I'm
State's
taking
defense
NC
is
State. And
yeah. This one should be a really good game. Maryland has such a high-powered offense, but their defense is non-existent. I think whichever quarterback NC State has, they'll thrive in it. I hope to see more of the young guys at running back for NC State. I know I've been saying that all year, and I know you've been saying it behind closed doors all year. I have NC State as well, but I do like Maryland's offense, and I said at the beginning of the year, Maryland has a very, very, very good offense. So I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland pulls this off. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm still having
Well,
faith
the
in that
series
defense
this
for
is an
sure.
old rivalry anyway. So the series is actually tied, I think, 36-36.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean
So
it should be a good game. I mean, I think
yeah,
NC State can put up some points
I
on that
think
defense though. So
I think a thing that's going to help NC State's going to be the home field advantage because it is in Charlotte,
yeah.
and NC State travels well within the state.
Yeah. No, I agree, and we'll see, man. That's going to be a really good game, I think, as well. Then we have the next one at 2 o'clock. We have the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. We got Pittsburgh at UCLA. UCLA is favored by 6 points. This one was kind of hard for me to pick because I'm pretty sure DTR. I'm not sure if DTR is playing, and I'm actually going to switch my pick on the thing right now. I have faith in Pittsburgh. That running back is amazing. I can't say his name because it's like 14 letters long, but he's really good. I'm going Pitt. I'm going Pitt over UCLA. I don't think UCLA is there yet. I think that running back's gonna have another 200-yard game.
I got UCLA.
You're probably gonna be right. I switched it out of just guessing. I'm gonna have to research that more. I might switch my pick back to UCLA. They are favored by 6 points, and 91% of the picks are on them. But I just have that feeling that that running back, if he's playing and he's healthy, we'll see. And I don't know if Kenan Slovis is playing either. So yeah, I need to do some research. As of right now, I'm picking Pitt Panthers. But that one should be another pretty good one as well. Next game we have here is at 3:30. We have the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Notre Dame, number 21 Notre Dame at number 19 South Carolina. Notre Dame is favored by 2 points here in this one. Um, I don't believe Drew Pine is playing. I'm not sure if Taylor Buckner is back, but Notre Dame has a solid run game. Um, we don't, and South Carolina's been on the tear. So who do you got on this one? It looks like it's 50-50 in the ESPN poll.
This one was a tough one for me, but I mean, I have Notre Dame down, and the only reason why I have Notre Dame down is because to me they were the most consistent out of the two all year.
Yeah, I agree. We don't know which Spencer Rattler we're getting. We could get the great one that's beaten Tennessee and rocks Clemson. But we also could get the one the first 5 weeks of the season that was
Yeah,
just not right. So next 5 weeks of the season or whatever. I'm going Notre Dame as well. I think this is a big opportunity for Marcus Freeman. Kind of similar to Texas. I don't think Marcus Freeman's going to lose it in one year, but this will tell us a lot. He can recruit, but can he coach? And this
yeah,
will tell us a lot as well. And I like him. I hope he does well. Um, and I like Shane Beamer too. So like I wouldn't be upset if South Carolina wins. So because I hope Shane Beamer continues to be a head coach. I wish he goes back to Virginia Tech just to live on the heritage, but you got to build your own path. But all right, next one we have is the Wyoming or I'm sorry, the Barstool Arizona Bowl where Ohio is versing Wyoming. Ohio's favored by 1.5 points. I have the Bobcats here. I think they'll
yeah,
win. I don't. Wyoming hasn't been that great since PJ Fleck left, so I'm going with Ohio.
yeah. I've got Ohio as well.
And then the game of the night, the Orange Bowl with two orange teams, number 6 versus number 7, Tennessee versus Clemson, the Capital One Orange Bowl. I really hope they wear orange jerseys and just we get sick of that color. But that's at 8 o'clock. Clemson is favored by 4.5 points. You think Klubnik gets it done, or are you going for Milton here? Battle of the backups.
See, I don't know.
It's a tough one, man. This one because
Yeah,
Clemson's defense is great,
Milton,
and Milton's
Milton,
not a bad
Milton.
quarterback.
No, Milton has the experience. That's the only thing that scares me. But I picked Clemson in this one. I just
Ooh,
don't. I just
ACC bias.
yeah. I just Clemson's been there. You know what I mean? They've been in the big games, and Dabo always has his
Yeah,
teams ready to play in big time bowl games. Um, I
Dabo's an
think
interesting one.
yeah. I'm gonna stay with Clemson.
I'm
Uh,
going. I'm going on Tennessee. They're winning 11 games this year. I mean, I like Milton. I think Heupel gets this win, and then Tennessee becomes a powerhouse next year as well. Um, I think Dabo has been saying some interesting stuff in the media as of late, so I don't know if he's losing his team. Um, so it should be a good one. It's just if that is can that defense stop the Tennessee offense, and then can that offense score? They scored against UNC, but who hasn't scored against UNC? So um,
Yeah.
so who knows? That should be a good one there. And then another exciting matchup we have next. Um, I'll wait for him to connect back. Sorry for the technological issues here. All right. We got you back here. The next game is number 5 Alabama versus number 9 Kent State. Alabama is favored by 6.5 points. I have a huge take on this. Do you want to hear my take or do you want to give your pick?
Yeah, I'm picking Bama.
I am picking Kansas State, baby. And I am rolling with Deuce Vaughn and Howard. And I think Alabama does not have that same team. I'm not sure if Will Rogers is playing or Will Anderson's playing. I'm not sure Bryce Young's playing. If the backup's
Yeah,
playing
they
and
are. They
Bryce
are.
are
No,
they?
they are. They already said they are. Yeah.
I still think Kansas State's going to win. Alabama's 7-5 ATS against the spread this year. So maybe I'm just saying that it's going to be closer than 6.5 points. But I'm Kansas State fan after they beat TCU. Their defense is so strong. Their offense is so good, and I'm a huge fan of their coach. So I'm going Kansas State here. I'm picking against Nick Saban. I've been 2-1 on the year picking against Nick Saban, so I can't be too upset. But you know, what's the golden rule? Never pick against Nick Saban. Never pick against Dabo. And I did both of them back to back. So um, then we have the Trans Perfect Music City Bowl. I believe this is in Nashville. Iowa versus Kentucky. Iowa's favored by 2.5 points. You're gonna put some mayonnaise in your coffee and cheer for Kentucky on this one?
No, because I got Devin Leary. I'm taking the Hawkeyes.
Oh, we I forgot about that. I forgot you weren't on the show last week, and Devin Leary has declared for Kentucky, so they got another NFL caliber quarterback coming back. I'm going Iowa as well. I think they figured out their offense a little bit at the end of the season, and Kentucky's defense just isn't good. Um, if I'm Will Levis, I'm not playing because you have potential to be a top 10 pick, which would be dumb because he sucks. But um, I'm going Iowa as well. I just can't stand Kentucky. I just cannot stand them.
Nah.
All right, and then we got we'll skip the two playoff games and we'll hit the New Year's Six here. Um, and then we'll go back to the playoff games and do a little bit bigger of a section there. We have the on Monday, January 2nd, we have Mississippi State in the ReliaQuest Bowl versus Illinois. Mississippi State favored by 1 point. Um, interesting, interesting thing happened. On signing day, the day before signing day, the number one recruit from Mississippi State, like I can't remember his name, but the top recruit sent a text to all the other recruits and said, "This is Mike Leach's last recruiting class. Let's do it for him." And nobody transferred away from Mississippi State on signing day that was supposed to sign. So um, that just shows you once again. I know we touched on it last week, or a couple weeks ago, on how great of a coach Mike Leach is, and I hope the college football committee breaks the rule of 60% wins and lets him in because he was only three games away into the Hall of Fame. But who you got here? I'm going with Mississippi State. I think they win it for Mike Leach, and I think it's a very emotional game.
Uh, I wish I could say I went against you, but I'm not. I'm taking the Pirate all day long.
It's in Tampa Bay. They have a pirate ship in their stadium. Like it's perfect, right? Like it's
I think
just
that's going to be the game that I'm most looking forward to watching. Honestly.
and I hope they do a tribute to Mike Leach. And
Yeah.
if Mississippi State wins, everybody's like, this is going to be storybook ending.
Yep.
And we all know Mike Leach will be watching from above and trying to look for UFOs while he's coaching a football game. So,
Yeah.
um, all right, the next one is probably the most exciting game I've been waiting for here for a while. We have the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Tulane versus USC. USC is favored by 2 points. You know who I'm picking. I've been riding them all year, and I'm picking another underdog. Shocker. But I'm going with the Green Wave. I love the blue. I love the green. I don't think Caleb Williams can do it. USC doesn't have a strong defense, and Tulane is very similar to Utah, and Utah just beat the brakes off of them. So I'm going Tulane Green Wave.
Mm-hmm. So, who do you think I picked?
USC.
No, you're wrong. I picked Tulane.
You're finally on the train with me.
I wouldn't say I'm on the train, but something's telling me that they've had a heck of a year, so they're going to
They
continue to. I don't like USC, so I picked Tulane in this one.
have you watched the Tulane game this year?
I
They're
have
fun
not.
to watch. They are really they can run the ball with the best of them. They can pass the ball with the best of them. They're a fun team to watch. It looks like old Hanover High School a little bit as well with their colors too. So
Yeah.
um so yeah, no, that one should be a fun one. I don't think USC is there yet. They overachieved this year, in my opinion. Lincoln Riley's a great coach. I think that gets an A. He
Dude,
gets
they
an
don't
A.
play nobody. They're in the
Yeah,
Pac-12.
he gets well. The Pac-12 was not bad this year.
Yeah, but it's not like the SEC or the ACC
Yeah, that's fair. That's
or the Big
well,
Ten.
yeah, that's fair. Um, but I think USC will be there. Well, they'll be in the playoff in the next 3 years. Um, but we'll see here. Next game we have is the Cheez It Citrus Bowl. That's an interesting one. We have LSU versus Purdue. LSU is favored by 14 and a half. Any surprises here? Go
Nah,
Tigers.
I've got LSU winning this one.
Go
Yeah, I got
Tigers.
LSU winning this one.
Yep. We both do as well. I hate to say it because I hate Brian Kelly. I hope I'm wrong on this one. I hope Purdue wins. But and then another great game that I think I'm really looking forward to as well is the Rose Bowl game, presented by Prudential. Penn State versus Utah. Utah's favored by 2.5. Uh, who do you got on this one? Because
All right, well, you're probably going to judge, but 2 years in a row for Utah. Last year, they had a hiccup against Ohio State because Cam Rising went down. The backup came in there and played his ass off, and they still almost won. I don't think it happens 2 years in a row. I've got Utah winning.
I want to pick Utah. They were my dark horse at the beginning of the year to potentially make it to the playoff. But that defense of Penn State, led by Joey Porter Jr., who represents for the Steelers, his dad, great linebacker, but him at cornerback, I think Sean Clifford gets it done, man. And even if they play the backup, he's a better quarterback than Clifford. And that running game, they got those young freshmen at running back. I'm going Penn State here. We're going against it, but 69% of the votes are on Utah, so you're probably right on this one too. I'm picking another underdog, but I have Penn State winning this. That one should be a
Mm,
really high scoring game though.
yeah, that's going to be a good game.
All right, and well, let's talk about the playoffs here. We have two games here in the playoffs. This will be this Saturday. One is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The other one is at 8 o'clock on New Year's Eve. Great way to pass the time while you're waiting for the ball to drop as well. The first one we have the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, TCU versus Michigan. Everybody is playing, to my knowledge, for both teams. Michigan is favored by 7.5 points. Does TCU pull this one off? And first year for Sonny Dykes, A+ rating, making it to the playoffs.
I just think Michigan's too powerful for TCU, to be honest. TCU squeaked by
Mm-hmm.
quite a few games, but I can tell you,
Well,
I got Michigan.
let's look at the Big 12 championship game. Maybe they weren't playing as hard because they already made it in pretty much were guaranteed into the playoff. But what does Kansas State do best? Run the ball, right? They got Deuce Vaughn, who's a little 5'6" running back who had 150 yards on him. What do they do well as well? Stop the run and play defense. That's Kansas State. What does Michigan do well? What's the best part about Michigan? Their offense and
Defense.
defensive lines. Like their offensive line, their defensive line. and they got a two-headed monster at running back, which Donovan Edwards I think is better than Blake Corum, and Blake Corum has was a Heisman candidate for most of the year. I think Michigan beats him by 10 plus very easily. The
No, I'm
only
taking
thing
those odds.
the only thing I'd be concerned about is Quentin Johnson for TCU, the wide receiver, is a stud and he is fully healthy. And Max Duggan is pretty good. So it'd be fun to watch them. But I think Michigan wins this one very easily. All right, and then the last game on the slate, we have the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. We have Ohio State and Georgia. CJ Stroud, I like him. He's a young, good, respectable player, but he said something in a press conference that he's like, yeah, we played or they played against some teams who have a worse offense than us, so I think we can keep up with them. That just lit a fire under an NFL defense's butt. I think Georgia mollywops them here. They're favored by 6.5 points. I think it's Georgia Michigan repeat um, on the playoff last year for the finals. Do you see any hiccups there?
No, I think it's going to be way too much Georgia defense. It's going to be a lot of Brock Bowers and who's the other tight end?
I don't know. They just lost their third tight end, Eric, whatever his name is, but who cares? He was barely played.
I don't know. Well, I can tell you right now, I've got Georgia winning more than 6. They're playing, I think, at the Falcon Stadium, isn't
Yeah, somewhere in Atlanta. I
it? Yeah,
assume it's
so
probably in the
that's
Mercedes Benz. It's a home game for Georgia. That
it's a
you're gonna
home game.
they're gonna be barking. They're gonna be barking in that
Yeah,
stadium.
maybe this will finally shut Ryan Day up too.
Now I have a question for you. Is Ryan Day on the hot seat if he loses
Yes,
this game?
yes.
Would if Mike Vrabel is up to it, would you take Vrabel over Ryan Day?
I just don't like Ohio State, so it really doesn't matter.
I would take Vrabel over Ryan Day. I think Vrabel would make them a team similar to Michigan, where they're strong on the offense and defensive lines, and they get back to some defensive football, which is what Ohio needs to be. But that is just a curious thing here. And then we have the final at Georgia, Michigan. We'll have a smaller episode next week, talk more about um, the bowl season, our favorite games. We'll talk a little bit more about the finals and the playoffs specifically, but not a longer episode. But I think we both are on the same page here. Georgia, Michigan in the finals coming up. So that one should be a good game. I think the finals this year will be fun. Um, we have one more year of the 14 playoffs, and then we move to 12. So it would have been really great to see some of the games here in the 12-team playoffs. But we'll do with what we have here. Any more thoughts here before we get off and watch the rest of the Coastal game and Coastal ECU game, and then the Oklahoma State and Wisconsin game?
Uh, Other than congratulations to Olivia because I feel like she's going to win.
Yeah, yeah. Congrats to Libby. She's up 3 games. So we'll see what happens. We'll announce the winner next week because we'll probably have it. Um, but thank you guys for being with us all year. Like I said, one more smaller episode next week, and then we'll have a draft special. Probably closer to April, closer to draft time. I might bring on a couple guests, and we'll have a couple mock drafts coming up here after pro days and everything like that. But thank you guys for listening once again, and we'll see you next week.